the Sun will conjunct Uranus in Taurus for the last time, bringing sudden flashes of insight or surprising realizations. But if you really think about what it is you're realizing, you might just find that you've had this insight before. I'm excited to speak with you more about this transit and some other interesting astrology happening this weekend. Thanks for being here. Okay, so let's start with the Sun in Taurus and break down some of the energies that are happening right now. So, the Sun in Taurus, which I'm just highlighting here on our chart, if it's helpful for you to follow along with the visual, um, there's the Sun in Taurus. And this is such a really nice grounding energy. I really enjoy the Taurus season. Taurus loves being in a body. So anything that we can do during this time to sort of enjoy being present, gardening, cooking, just wearing nice, comfortable fabric, it can all just feel really good. So this weekend is a great time to sort of practice presence and mindfulness. With the Sun in Taurus, it's a little bit easier. It's interesting the way in which mindfulness is really about being present in our bodies, not our minds. And Taurus can help us do that, leaning into some grounding practices that involve the earth can really help. And this weekend, we also have Mercury in Taurus. Going to highlight that for us as well. Ooh. Sorry. My bad. I hope everyone's doing well today. Okay, here's that Mercury in Taurus. So, with Mercury in Taurus as well, especially after what Mercury has recently been going through. Mercury was retrograde recently and spent quite a lot of time in Aries and Pisces. And that can be, when Mercury was in Aries, it can be sort of a quick, um, impulsive, bold, verbal, and mental energy. And then in Pisces, there can be sort of a haze, a little bit of a confusion. But Mercury and Taurus energy that we have this weekend is a lot slower mental and verbal energy than what we've had for a while. So it can feel really nice, slow in a good way. This is a great time to be practical, to be thoughtful. Mercury and Taurus, with Mercury and Taurus energy happening, we tend to not overshare. It's just sort of a steady mental and verbal energy, which again, I really do think is quite nice after that Mercury in Aries and Pisces. So we have all of this really nice Taurus energy going on right now. And there are two major transits this weekend that are happening that actually involve these two planets. I'm actually going to go ahead and lose the highlights, and I'm going to add some other elements here. The first important transit that we have this weekend occurs and is exact on Saturday. As you can see, the Sun is conjunct Uranus in Taurus this weekend. The Sun, with the Sun conjunct Uranus in Taurus, we'll be feeling this all weekend, first of all, and early next week, and you may have noticed it a little bit at the end of last week as well. The Sun connecting with this Uranus and Taurus sort of illuminates it. So Uranus brings surprises, and sometimes those surprises are quite sudden. And in Taurus, those changes and surprises can come to something that has historically felt very stable and sort of hard to change. Wherever we have Taurus, we tend to be pretty change resistant. So Uranus and Taurus has been a powerful energy in and of itself that we've been working with actually since May of 2018. So this has been going on for a while. And about once a year, the sun comes to meet up with this Uranus as well. So that sort of illuminates the larger process that Uranus has been going through of shaking up and changing a place that has been historically stable and sort of difficult to change. And this is the final Sun conjunct Uranus transit in Taurus. So this weekend, you might feel like you might have sort of a revelation, and it might feel like, wow, this is so surprising. But then when you really stop and think about it, it might be something you've sort of worked on before. It might be that you're owning this insight in a new way, on another level. Uranus conjunct the sun in Taurus can bring up a shock and a surprise that we've had before, but this time it feels different. It's like we really get it now. There's no more room for denying it, or maybe thinking that that moment was just a fluke, or that maybe we're seeing it wrong, or anything like that. We're feeling the weight of something sort of clicking into place, perhaps some sort of a culminating moment connected to this Uranus and Taurus. So it could relate to a theme that began to open up in 2018. And in some ways, it's sort of all been building to this. But also, I think that each cycle, each Sun conjunct Uranus has brought its own sort of layer and level of revelation and acceptance. So it could relate to any number of things, depending on where this falls in your chart, which house and sector. But whether or not it's connecting with a planet, there are a lot of different factors. But in general, Uranus conjunct the sun conjunct Uranus and Taurus, I should say, can relate to themes about a changing sense of security and sort of a different way to root into the ground, into our lives. It could be that there's sort of a light bulb moment this weekend or a few days on either side. So be on the lookout for that. And think about maybe that these themes could have started to come to the surface for you as early as 2018. And now something deeper, something on a even richer level is being revealed. Stay flexible to sort of help to lessen resistance and allow that change to come in, which is something that can be a little bit difficult during Taurus season. As grounded as and as good as we can feel with this energy, like I described at the beginning of the video, sometimes Taurus can really be resistant to change. So feeling that great Sun in Taurus energy, Mercury in Taurus energy, while also staying flexible can help you sort of notice what's going on in terms of this Sun-Uranus conjunction, what revelation it's bringing to the surface, again, for you to consider, without sort of adding resistance to the mix. So then on Sunday, but we will be feeling this a few days before and a few days after. Mercury in Taurus, which we spoke about before, will be coming into a square with Mars in Leo. And this is an important energy to talk about that's happening this weekend too, especially since it's happening alongside that Uranus Sun energy. So Mercury-Mars squares, especially between these two houses, can indicate, some verbal tension happening, clashes, perhaps some stubborn behavior, perhaps some pushy behavior. Mercury in Taurus really wants to sort of take its time, but that Mars in Leo wants to express itself right now. and impress itself upon others. So that clash is where that sort of verbal tension can come from, the stubbornness, the pushiness. Um, this is a really good weekend to be careful of your tone and also to notice others' tone. Realize that things may come off a little differently than what was intended. So being sort of conscious of the way that you're saying things, leaning more towards that Mercury Taurus energy, remembering to stay grounded, slow, doing those things to ground yourself, like cooking, gardening, spending time outside, so that you are able to communicate the way that was best intended, and also noticing if that's coming up with others around you that that might not be exactly the way they intended it. At the same time, especially with the Sun conjunct Uranus, it does kind of feel like while it is important to use our tone wisely and to choose the moment wisely, this could be finally speaking up about something that's been brewing for a long time. And that could be you doing that or someone else doing that or both. um, and that's a positive thing. That's something that needs to happen. It could be that there could be arguments about values, about priorities, about money. It could be that there are sort of conflicting desires within us or between people that we're having to sort of work out with an aspect like this. I think putting it together, putting it all together, pausing before responding so that we're responding rather than reacting is really important. I think that this is a great time this weekend to sort of choose focused mental work. That might be a really great way to use this energy. But also understanding that if conversations do come to the surface, even if they're a little bit uncomfortable, they might be really important. I also want to mention that Mars and Venus are in a trine right now. And that is adding a real harmony and positivity to this. If you enjoyed this video, you would enjoy my video about the Mars-Venus trine. I will attach it here at the end. And I'll also attach another video with some more information about Mercury and Taurus, because I think that's a great energy for us all to be leaning into right now. Thank you so much for being here. Please check out on my channel your horoscopes for May. There's so much more information there. And if you enjoy this style where you're sort of able to see the video or see the images, but also just listen to the astrology, I think you'd enjoy the horoscopes as well on my channel. Best read for your rising sign if you know your rising sign. And yeah, I wish you all a wonderful weekend. Thank you for being here. I'll be back again soon.